Good day. My name is Munir Ajam, and I'm the CEO of Uruk Project Management and the innovator behind the Uruk platform. I'm a Lebanese immigrant. I came to the US in early 81 and got my bachelor degree in civil engineering from the University of Houston. I worked for a while, and then I went back to college, the University of California at Berkeley, where I did a master's degree in engineering and construction management, which is basically under the civil engineering department, but focusing on project management in the engineering construction context. With that master's degree back in 1990, well, 32 years ago, I joined Exxon Chemical and I came back to Texas to work on petrochemical project. So I worked with Exxon Chemical for about 8 years in their project management division, starting in estimating, and became a lead estimator, and went to work in a plant, in a chemical plant as a project manager on small project. Then I came back to headquarters working on the estimate for a mega project that we were planning in Singapore. I led the estimating team, and then I went on to that project and worked in project control, helping the project management team manage the project. That was almost 30 years ago, and where I gained a lot of experience in project management and working in an industrial, in a leading company like Exxon Chemical at the time, gave me a lot of opportunity to learn about project lifecycle management, stage gate process, partnering, work on small project, multiple projects. So I had a lot of opportunity to work in all areas of project management, from estimating to project control to project management. Again, working small project, multiple project, in alliance contract where we have numerous projects going on, a portfolio of projects going on at the same time, and also mega project, all in about 8 years. So I had gained a lot of experience and knowledge in project management after my master's degree working with Exxon Chemical. After that, I became an independent consultant. I ended up working on another mega project in the petrochemical industry as well, as an independent consultant, leading the project control, managing the project control on that project. Two mega projects. One of them did very well, and the other one not so well. So there were a lot of learning about success and failure as well. And that stuck with me as I continued my career, moving from the US to Saudi Arabia, and then the United Arab Emirates and Lebanon, and back to the US about last year. During those years, I ended up working on a lot of projects, either as an employee of the company or as a consultant, work with government entities, work with academic institutions, with private companies on all types of projects. And as I was working in the UAE, I had my own company at the time called SUCAD, Free Zone Limited Liability Company based in Dubai. We did a lot of training for government entities and other organizations. And what we've noticed there is a lot of gaps of practice and understanding project management. Project management was not as known or as popular domain outside the oil and gas industry. So in technology, in business, in government, project management was relatively new, especially in West Asia, in Saudi, in UAE, Kuwait, Qatar area. So I ended up doing a lot of training for companies and work with a lot of companies, trying to help them educate. Initially, the focus everybody wanted to focus on certification. However, as we do certification training, and here I'm shifting a little bit from the personal to why Uruk, right? And as we were doing training for companies, what we discovered is that there is a lot of gaps in understanding. So we go to a workshop and people will tell me, Munir, we understand what you're saying. We understand these concepts. We understand the theory. The problem we face is how do we apply these in the real world on actual project? And the biggest challenge was becoming known to us is not only how to apply project management in the real world, is that how do you apply it in different domains? And one time we were working in a workshop and we had people from different domains. Some of them were marketing, some of them were strategic planning, some of them were scientific nature, PR. And the challenge was, how do we apply project management for these different domains in context, right? So a PR person managing a PR project is different than even than a marketing project, which should be very close, right? But there are differences in the way we manage those projects. Obviously, between marketing and technology project, there's a huge difference. From technology to oil and gas or real estate development, there is a huge difference. So here's the challenge for us. And as I was leading the company with my team in Dubai, is that how do we bridge the gap between theory and practice? How do we align or take the theory and the things that are common in project management in all domains, such as, obviously every project needs to have some estimate, every project needs to have a schedule. These are common across domain. However, how do we develop methods, approaches to manage project in different domains? And here, about 2007 timeframe, we came with the idea of what we call the CAMP methodological process. CAMP stands for the customizable and adaptable project management methodology, right? So basically, or methodology for managing projects, to be more accurate. Actually, it's not about managing project per se, it's also about product delivery, right? Because technically project, we manage project because we want to deliver a product, a solution, a result out to a customer, out to the market, to our community, if we are a government entity, to our citizen, right? So basically, the challenge was, how do we convert theory to practice? We came up with the idea of what we call the customizable and adaptable methodology for managing project. Now, notice here the keyword customizable and adaptable, which in other words, some people use the term tailoring. And tailoring is a critical concept in project management because there's, again, I'm repeating, there are a lot of common factors when it comes to managing project across all sectors and domain. However, in every sector and domain, there are very specific areas such as the project life cycle, the different stages, the different deliverables that happen along the project that are different. And we have to cater for that. So we developed CAMP and we started to develop workshop on it. We started to write books about it. I self-published about 3 books initially. And then after a period of time, CRC Press agreed to publish 2 books for us. The first one was Project Management Beyond Waterfall and Agile, and which we published in 2017. Now, the reason I want to mention that book, because that book became version 3 of that methodology we talked about. So now we have done the methodology in 2007, and between 2007 and 2017, over the 10 years, we kept improving the methodology as we delivered workshops for clients around the region. And as we improved the methodology, by 2016, we had version 3. In 2017, we published the books about it. Now, again, another significant of that book is in a way, a knowledge foundation for the Uruk platform. So to make a long story short, we started in engineering, we went to project management. From project management, we found gaps. We tried to answer and resolve those gaps by developing methodology. We shared knowledge about that methodology through ebooks, through books, through videos, through blogs, and then finally through a book published by CRC Press in 2017. And with that book published, there's a lot of push from myself and my friends said, why don't we convert that methodology into a software solution? And here we came back with the idea that we need to develop an app. And ultimately, the app became a platform. And early in 2019, a few friends and I, colleagues, some of them I've known for years and some of them I've never met, but they know me online or they know me by reputation. We agreed to form SUCAD in the US as SUCAD Project Management Portfolio Solutions, or SUCAD Corp for short. And SUCAD focus in the US was initially to develop the Uruk platform. And that is how, and now we are operating as Uruk Project Management. So that's the history behind the Uruk Project Management. Now, why Uruk? And why, I mentioned earlier that when we were in Dubai, we developed the methodologies because to cover gaps in practice, right? Because that focus there, that we need to help people understand how to apply. However, what drove us to think about the crowd-based the solution, the cloud-based application that became a platform, which is the Uruk platform. What drove us to do it is that as I work on my project, as I work on client project, as I work on doing more research and reading about project, and I had start working on a book on mega project, we discovered that even on mega project, and mega project in engineering construction, usually that means project was $1 billion or above, right? And I had read a book at that time based on research and studies have been done on about more than 300 mega projects. The average budget of those projects were $3.2 billion. And the research that was done behind that books, and obviously from my own research as well, and my own personal experience and from my client, is that on average, when it comes to these mega projects, only 35% are considered successful. That means 65% of those projects are considered failure. Now, let me be careful here. Even those who were considered successful, they could have seen 10 or 15% budget overrun. That means they went over budget, or maybe they were up to about 20% longer than they originally planned, which means even those successful projects, their profitability and net present value were affected. Another research was done on capital project, which means large project. You know, you can look at it from the $50 million to the $500 million. And we discovered there's only about 60% of those projects are successful, which is good, better than 35%. However, the problem was that if these projects, although they are considered successful, meaning they delivered the output, they delivered the product, whatever that is, a refinery, a chemical plant, a building, a tunnel, whatever the case might be, they built that, yeah? So there is a success from that perspective that the project is complete. However, in terms of net present value, if they did not follow a proper project life cycle, stage gate methodological process, such as the CAMP method that we have developed, they could lose up to 45% of the net present value. And that research documented in a book called Capital Project. If we go to IT, there are a lot of research and studies that there's also significant more failure than success, at least in the project management area. If we look at infrastructure project, again, the numbers are staggering, the huge, in terms of project management. Again, what we have to define success here, we have to differentiate between success as a product is completed, is delivered, is being used. Like, for example, the Uruk tunnel, right? It's completed, it's used. However, from project management perspective, it was a disaster, right? So from that perspective, we need to be careful when we talk about project success and failure. So there is a significant problem, and that problem is causing millions and billions of dollars in opportunity losses to communities, to companies, to government around the area. So here we had a methodological approach. We know the methodological approach that we have works, because a lot of research shows if you follow the same research that tells us 60% of the project are successful, and if you don't follow a proper methodological process, you lose up to 45% of net present value. On the opposite side, they demonstrate that if you follow a proper project management process, you can actually improve your net present value by about 5%. Research by, and those research is by the independent project analysis company. If you go to the Construction Industry Institute, which is based at the University of Texas in Austin, it also basically gives us a lot of numbers. If you follow proper project management processes in terms of change management or risk management or many other areas, they have 17 best practice. You can actually save, anywhere from 3 to 5 to 10% per best practice if we can implement those best practices. Now, I don't know if anybody can implement all 17 of them, but even implementing a few of them can lead to significant saving. So we know, based on a lot of research and research from real projects, so this is not theory, right? That a proper methodological process for managing project following the idea of project lifecycle, meaning we follow the project from ideation all the way to closure, works and produce result and produce benefit and improve stakeholder value, shareholder value, stakeholder. We use stakeholders and shareholders, right? So shareholder value is significantly improved by organization doing better in the area of project. So for us, the solution was, now not only we want to cover the gap of between theory and practice, we want to provide the digital solution that help organization implement the method. Today, a lot of, for example, in the oil and gas sector, a lot of companies follow the stage gate process. They do follow it, but they don't have a digital solution. So for those companies, what we can offer them, the Uruk platform, as here you go, we have a digital solution. We can map your process and put it into the Uruk platform very quickly. Right? We don't need a lot of time to do it because all the components are there. We just have to match it, to align our process. This is assuming you follow that process. However, the majority of companies today outside of oil and gas, they still do not follow a formalized process, or if they do, they have some kind of an organizational project management system in place, is relatively new or weak or poor or decent, yeah. And in some cases, it is great, but based on a lot of research, those great solutions that exist out there, and especially run by project management offices, the success, the number of those that are successful is still not very high. We still see more, unfortunately, we still see more failure than success, or more challenges, if you don't want to use the term failure, more challenges than success. So here where we believe is the Uruk platform. Have been able, through the Uruk platform, we have been able to capture many things. We have been able to understand the good, the bad, and the ugly in the project management practice. We know that. Based on our decade of experience and a lot of these white hair, we know the challenges we face, okay, and project face. We know. We believe we know the root causes of that. Not only what, you know, we see a project overrun, we blame the contractor or the subcontractor or the engineering. No, the core purpose is that we still do not fully, organization, still do not fully recognize or appreciate project management as a strategic value-added skill set. We do not value it enough. And as a result of that, a lot of organizations outside the oil and gas sector do not even have project management departments. And they might have PMOs, but the PMO might end up being focusing mostly on reporting rather than create the methodological process. So today, even if an organization have a PMO, but they have not necessarily built the PMO process, we built it for them. It's in the Uruk platform. And if you have nothing, we have a complete process ready to go for you. That's the solution. Now, what's unique about Uruk? There's a lot of project management, quote unquote, project management software in the market today. Most of them focus on being too basic, which means focusing on some collaboration and task management, which is good. If you want to manage tasks, there are great tools out there, and I use some of them, right? But if I want to manage tasks only, if I want to do some specialized action like scheduling, there are MS Project and Primavera offer some really sophisticated scheduling tools, but focusing mostly on scheduling and maybe some cost and earned value management along with it, but doesn't help you with everything else. You still have to plan, and the plan information, the output of whatever you do in the planning has to go into the scheduling software. And still there are a lot of areas that are missing that the software doesn't provide for you. And there are, on the other side, there are the enterprise solution that might help you more with the financing part. There is no single solution in the market today, unless it has been built for a company in-house, that offer a project lifecycle management, which is a core feature of the Uruk platform. Now, to make it better, we are not only offering the PLC management, the project lifecycle management, meaning from inception to all the way to operation and success. We need to offer that PLC management. That means by doing that, we are now offering collaboration within the different silos of organization. So in a way, we help break some of those silos, because the people who might work on the inception and the concept and the feasibility within an organization might be different than the people who work on defining the technical requirement, and they might be different than the people who do the engineering and construction, and for sure they might be different than the people who will operate the product at the end of once it's fully operational. So you have multiple departments or division that might be involved in a project. Within Uruk, all of those can use the Uruk platform, which means everything from inception all the way to the end is documented inside Uruk, although the people and the department might be changing, which means it's a highly collaborative approach that can help break down or minimize some of the friction and the problem that happened. So Uruk provide an integrated solution that integrate product development with project management, with the business and economic side of the organization, and on the other side with the operation and the end user of the organization. So we try to bring all of that together because we follow that project lifecycle approach. That's not enough. On top of that, we realize managing project, even in oil and gas. Yeah, if you want to manage an offshore production facility, it's different than managing an onshore petrochemical plant or a refinery or a pipeline project or some other project. A real estate, there is a difference between building a house or building a city or building a residential tower or a fancy museum, right? So there are differences, which mean we need to tailor those methods further. We need to provide the ability to customize and adapt a standard methodological approach to be fit for purpose for the domain that we need to do the work in. Whether you're working in pharmaceutical or aviation or technology, you need a slightly different approach. So a great benefit of the Uruk platform is the PLC management, the stage gate process, the ability to customize and tailor to fit exact need of organization, the ability to integrate and collaborate across the platform, and from ideation all the way to closure. As I close this video, I need to talk about the market. The market size, there's numerous research on this. They range in some of them. When we look at number of total addressable market, we see some numbers for project management cloud-based software, right? So we are zooming in here, not on project management in general, only on project management software. They're somewhere between $4 to $7 billion of annual expected by 2026, 2027. There are today between what PMI and IPMA and some of the project management association offer in terms of certification, there are probably more than 3 million people with some one project management certificate or another today already. PMI, the largest nonprofit organization focusing on project management, the Project Management Institute, estimate that millions of people will be needed to manage project by 2027. I think the number was like about 87 million people. Everywhere we go around us today, regardless what major you study, regardless what work you do, there are a high percentage, or it's highly likely that you'll end up working on projects. The question is, do we work on project knowing and understanding and that having acquired project management skills, or we do it based on ad hoc and common sense? Common sense work on small project, on tiny project, but as the project gets more larger, more complex with many stakeholders and many team members, it's not easy to manage using common sense. In that case, common sense, it's not common sense to use common sense to manage non-common sense project. Try to say that again if you can. So where are we? As a startup, Uruk Project Management, we have been working for a while. We have faced some challenges with COVID tragedy. We lost my partner and shareholder and head of technology a while back. So we had to regroup and start all over again. So we have raised some fund. Today we have our product, the Uruk platform, as initial product available in the market today. We are working on becoming more and more to go to market. It is available for early adopters because we still have to do a lot of enhancement and improvement. And of course, the full vision will take much longer to complete. So what we have right now is mostly a rough MVP in the market. So we have raised some funds to get to this point. Now we want to raise again. We are trying to raise $500,000. We have about 120 of that already committed. We're looking to reach about $500,000, which would allow us to get out in the market, achieve some good traction, build our business team, of course, to right now we are very bootstrapped, very small team. So we need to build our team to have a stronger team to go to market and build some strong traction in the market. And that should, with $500,000, that should get us plenty of fund to be able to achieve many core objectives and to allow us maybe to go to the next round to scale and grow. Again, Munir Ajam with Uruk Project Management. And with this, I wish you success today, tomorrow, and always, and hope you can join us as we transform the project management practice. Thank you.